it is a concern to us that there's so much change, and I'm not really seeing the infrastructure keep pace.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
just concerned.
No, yeah. I know, and I don't know how much of this will stay in, but I had talked to Slate Farms, who's over near, I think where Ascension St. Thomas is going in. And so they're basically surrounded by city now.
Yeah,
And so they're really concerned about it because they're functionally going to have to move in the near future.
yeah,
And it's a situation where I think up near Kirkwood, I think, over by Rossview Road, like past couple decades, that was what happened. It's like Rossview Elementary and all that got built, and then it really wiped out all the farmers in the area. And I know I also talked with somebody from the Farmers Co-op, and he was a younger guy, 26, I want to say, and he had a huge concern, and I don't know how you feel about this, but he had a huge concern around wanting to get into agriculture and farming, but not having an inheritance to really get it from. And a lot of his friends were the same way, where it's like they want to get into farming, but there's no path to success unless you're inheriting your farm functionally, or just have a lot of money.
right.
You know?
No, that's a real thing. It's a real
Yeah.
concern, not just in this community, but across the country.
Yeah.
Because you cannot buy land at a price that you could ever pay for through farming.
Yeah.
So people that want to get into farming depend on other existing land that is already in agriculture or can be put into agriculture, usually restored to agriculture, because at one point or another it was and maybe got
Yeah.
dropped. But so one of those opportunities is this phenomenon that's been happening called agrivoltaics.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I'm interested in doing on my farm, but have had difficulty convincing CEMC to consider. But in those systems, often people will graze sheep or cattle, and the solar development provides the funds to be able to afford to let these young aspiring farmers come into the land and to provide the services that they need on the photovoltaic part of the development.
Yeah.
You have to manage the vegetation, and pretty much nothing manages the vegetation better than livestock.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that gives them an opportunity to get established in farming and start developing some cash flow.
Yeah.
And then from there they can branch out further.
Okay. Let's just keep going down this rabbit hole.
We're good at that.
Yeah, we're very good at that. Probably too good at it. So is the idea, see, now I have to stop myself from asking a bunch of like additional questions, I guess, because I also want to make sure that you have time to talk about like some of the other things we had talked about. But so in this agrivoltaics, if I can summarize this correctly, a farmer, a younger farmer or somebody getting into it has a small bit of land. They have livestock that help manage the growth on that land, and that keeps the plants away from the solar panels and things of that nature.
Well, in fact, it's a little bit better than that even for the young aspiring farmer, because they don't have to have the land at all.
Mm.
It's more likely that it would be a farmer like myself who's starting to age out of farming, but wants to keep the land in agriculture, but needs an ongoing, predictable source of income to do that. And the agrivoltaic development provides that sort of certainty.
Okay.
And the development would need vegetation management. So there is enough income to actually provide an income to the aspiring farmer that he could use, say, to go to the agricultural lending agencies and get a loan to acquire the cattle and equipment he needs to move them onto that land and manage them on that land.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he'll have a note saying, I'm going to have this amount of money
Yeah.
on a monthly or annual, quarterly or annual basis, whatever it is. And that's the key to everything.
Yeah.
It's just like for the landowner,
Mm-hmm.
if the local utility says, we'll agree to purchase this power from this project,
Yeah.
then that landowner has that in hand to be able to go to a bank and secure the funding to install the project.
Right.
Or if they're doing it through a third party, that party has that in hand to be able to finance it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But there's actually, it's a win for the landowner, it's a win for the farmer.
Right.
It's a win for the developer,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a win for the community and the county,
Yeah.
because those sales of electricity
Yeah.
are taxed. So the county obtains revenues.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes the county is able to, for example, use those to help fund rural volunteer fire departments or equipment and supplies for schools,
Mm-hmm.
right? The development may also provide educational opportunities for the local school systems.
Yeah.
To visit and to analyze, how does this work? How do you get this energy?
Yeah.
It's a multidisciplinary kind of
So
topic.
to actually, because one of the things that I would love to do, like one of the major things on my platform is free meals for kids. And as part of that, I have always had this thought in the back of my mind of I want there to be a farm to cafeteria program where the local farmers provide as much of the meals as can feasibly happen. The concern has always been though that like growing the food that is actually nutritional for kids is expensive compared to most row cropping or livestock, that, as far as I know. And I think this would provide both what you're talking about as well as what we had talked about the other day, where I'll let you go into it, but having the solar panels on the farm itself to kind of like provide like trellis structure and shade for like certain types of crops could help reduce the overall cost to allow that program to happen, as well as the tax revenue funding back into farmers for that additional margin that the county would have to pay necessarily so that it's profitable for farmers to provide those nutritional crops.
Yeah, well, of course, we're in the TVA service territory.
Right.
And TVA is mostly interested in very large-scale projects.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not always popular in communities.
No, yeah.
When you're going to sort of cover hundreds of acres of former productive farmland in solar panels without much other concurrent use of the land, that people get a little bit concerned about that.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But what we're advocating is a large number of distributed developments for landowners throughout the county.
Mm-hmm.
And that distributes the benefits countywide
Yeah,
and keeps a lot more farms in farming.
right.
We're really approaching, a crisis in the area in terms of loss of farmland.
Yeah.
To urban development.
Yeah,
And it's a very powerful tool for opposing that. But in terms of the school, like farm to school sales, There is a state program, but I looked into it, and the only place that there is actually as I understand it, a place where you can actually convey your produce for it to be used in schools is all the way out in I think it's in Fayette County or something. I mean, they were planning a lot more locations, but for some reason they don't seem to have any yet. So that's it's on paper. It's this great idea, but it's not a real outlet for farmers in this community.
Yeah.
I mean, not most farmers.
Yeah.
Because as you're saying, you're not providing these schools with field corn and soybeans. You know?
Right.
You're providing them. You need to provide them a variety of nutritious produce and fruits.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's possible. I think it's just going to be a difficult problem to solve, because like we have farmers who grow berries, right? Like strawberries are huge around here. We have. I know tomatoes as well as another one that we a lot of farmers who do grow fruit grow around here, and there's things that we can start with where we just supplement our cafeteria program, right? The problem is that we would have to, as a county, pay a lot more to make those things profitable for transition from row cropping for a lot of other farmers if we wanted to feed the entire county, right? Or the entire county school system, which we could do again if we are getting that increased tax revenue from the solar panels and the sales tax. So like that's kind of where my mind's going about this kind of cyclical nature, where the electricity generated from farmland feeds back into the sales tax, and that sales tax then feeds back into purchasing the actual crops from the farmers to then go to the schools.
It also raises property tax as well.
The solar panels?
Yeah. The solar developments are property that would be taxed. But I agree with what you're saying. I guess one of the things I think about it is, I think of it as part of the overall education process.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you've got these resources everywhere in the county that the kids could go short distances from their school to visit these farms.
Yeah.
And learn about how the food that they're eating in their cafeteria,
Mm-hmm.
They see that, every day,
Yeah.
is being produced, and they could actually, while they're out on these visits, they could actually engage in some of the kinds of activities to see how it's done. And
Yeah.
I think anytime, and especially for young people, when they have an actual stake in the process, they're going to be more engaged, and it's going to make them more curious about eating these different kinds of foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things I've seen in my marketing to the public is people are losing knowledge about very kind of what I would have considered mundane kinds of foods.
Yeah.
That were really a very integral part of the culture here.
Yeah.
I remember, I was flabbergasted once when one of my customers asked me how I suggested that they prepare some squash that they bought from me. And I was just making the assumption that, hey, here we are in the South,
Yeah.
right? Squash is such a prominent traditional element of the food system here. I just assumed everyone kind of knew that, but
Right.
no, that's not the way it is anymore.
Yeah.
People are getting a lot more prepared food, pre-prepared foods, a lot more packaged foods.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not involved in preparing traditional produce that's not been processed already.
No, definitely. I know I was talking to, I want to say, a nutritionist or a doctor, something like that. And I'm going to butcher the numbers, so I'm just going to, anybody watching just know that it's these are not accurate numbers. But I want to say it was like 50 years ago, 75% of the average American's diet was from like natural food, like, or food that was grown and just like picked and whatnot from farms.
Right, not processed.
Not processed,
Yeah.
thank you. And then now it's kind of flipped, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like most Americans have 75% of their diet be pre-processed foods. And, you know, from what I've heard, that has a negative impact on like learning opportunities. It has a negative impact on health outcomes. And it also has a negative impact just on local economies, because for anything, like anytime a truck has to haul something somewhere, it gets processed and hauled somewhere else. That's just worse for our roads. It's worse for the cost of things a lot of the time, and it's worse for the local farmers. So,
Yeah, I don't know that the numbers matter. I think for sure that's the trend.
right.
And the trend is not good.
Yeah, yeah,
So I also, again, I think, you know, it kind of takes the mystery out of it for the children, because seeing how it's grown and having some involvement in that and harvesting of it, that's more tangible for them and more fun.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of ways. You know, it's
Yeah.
like kind of like, let's make food fun again or something. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to try and come up with a catch, you know,
yeah, catchphrase, yeah.
catchphrase. But yeah, so I think that we're definitely losing things. We're
Yeah.
losing cultural things. We're losing nutrition. It costs more
Yeah,
to you have to pay for all that processing.
yeah,
You know, so it's not hard to grow food or to find local food if you're willing to recognize that it's higher quality, so you should provide a little bit more
yeah.
in compensation.
I want to transition to a question that I have around both like the solar panel installations themselves, but specifically property tax. And this is all like kind of one of the first things that I was looking into when I first was thinking about even running for county mayor was the idea of splitting property tax into land versus the developments on the land. With the idea being that for ag-zoned areas, you could tax land at a lower rate and tax developments at a higher rate to disincentivize people building up on ag-zoned land. And then similarly, and this is more important for the city, honestly, is doing it the other way around. So you tax land at a higher rate and developments at a lower rate, with the idea being that would incentivize
Right.
developing on smaller parcels, developing up,
Right.
and not hoarding land. All of that to say, when you mentioned that putting in solar panels would raise property taxes, are solar panels, do you know, are those sorts of things treated as like a building that is part of property tax? Or is it just that it's like a development that increases the valuation of the land?
Well, I think they should be treated as agricultural assets in this case,
Okay,
because I do think it's important to maintain the distinction
Yeah.
that this is a tool for maintaining agricultural use.
right, yeah,
But, for example, if I have a farm and has no development on it, it's not taxed at the same level as if I have a farm with a farmhouse and a couple barns, you
Yeah.
know, and a hay shed, and all those improvements are taxed in your taxes.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I would tax it as an agricultural improvement or an agricultural asset,
okay.
which
'Cause
wouldn't be as high as an industrial asset, you know.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking of it the same way that I imagine like a tractor is not including your property tax, right? It is a tool that, granted, a solar panel is stationary, but it's a tool that you have that exists
Right.
on your farm.
But you
it's
did
not-
pay some tax on it when you bought it.
Right, right.
So, and it costs you, you know, there's some tax on the fuel you put into it and things like that.
Right. So I'm in specifically because I know we talked about the sales tax and that being really beneficial for the county, but in terms, I just want to make sure that from a property tax standpoint, do you know if installing solar panels counts as a structure that increases your property tax?
I don't know that. I think that
Okay.
probably is something that the county can define for itself.
If the state hasn't already.
Yeah, I don't know the rules on that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I feel like, I mean, it would depend, because we had also talked about like the plug-in solar. I forget, was that what it was called?
Right.
Um,
That's kind of to give everybody a tool to
Right.
lower their energy cost.
Right, and you said it's functioned like an appliance.
Right.
And so from my naive understanding of it, that's kind of how I've been thinking of it.
That
It's
would
like-
not increase.
Yeah, like a
that-
dishwasher would increase your property tax.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of my hope, because I do still think that what I was talking about, where you splitting property tax into land versus developments, it is possible to do. There's just, it's a little of a legal gray area.
Yeah, and I'm not a tax expert.
You're fine, yeah.
Or a tax legal law expert, so
Right.
I couldn't say one way or the other on that. So
No, I got you. I just wanted to ask about it, because if solar panels were counted as like a permanent structure and it did increase your property tax by itself, then there's that kind of
well, if you put, I can tell you that if you put solar panels
Mhm.
in a permanent installation, like on your roof or on a solar mounting system in your backyard, something like that. That's
Mhm.
basically that's a property improvement
Mhm.
because things that you add, it's something you've added to the infrastructure of the house.
Yeah.
The reason the plug-in solar is different is it's just something that plugs into an outlet. It can be folded up and put in your trunk and carried off to wherever you are moving to.
Okay.
It's not in any way permanently affixed to the structure of the house. And that means it also opens up solar to renters,
Right.
either of renting houses or apartments.
Mhm.
And in the case of a community like Clarksville, where we have a lot of military
Yeah.
members that cannot predict where they're going to be from year to year,
Yeah.
they're not going to invest in a large-scale rooftop installation
Right.
because they may, as soon as they get it done, they may be reassigned to a new service area and
Yeah.
have to leave it behind. Now, it would probably, and there's studies that have confirmed this, increase the value of their property.
Right.
But because of that, it would also increase their property tax. Although
yeah.
there is an exception in state law, solar is not taxed as property.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know that's for personal, property. I don't know how that would apply to, say, a
Farm.
agrivoltaic system where you were selling the power to a utility.
Yeah.
In that case,
Okay.
I think it is taxable,
Okay. Yeah. Something to look into for sure.
right?
Yeah. Cool.
I think if you look on your utility bill,
Yeah.
somewhere on there'll be something about tax,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the power, there's some kind of arrangement there for taxing the power production.
Gotcha. Awesome. I'm trying to think, because we talked about a lot the other day. Is there anything else that you want to specifically make sure kind of gets out, or?
Well, we're gonna, some of the organizations I work with are gonna continue to pursue these ideas.
Mhm.
And one of the ways we're going to do that as we discuss is we're going to have a booth at the Clarksville Home Show in first weekend in October.
Yeah.
So if people are interested, they can come down and learn more about all these things down there. And hopefully we'll have some show and tell of some actual hardware in terms of plug-in solar hardware that they can look at.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And we'll also, by then, we'll have nailed down all these other exciting things that are going on relative to solar and
Yeah.
electric vehicles and appliances and stuff, efficient appliances and stuff.
Yeah.
When we get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a million more things that I definitely I would like to talk with you about, because I think it'd just be engaging for people and people would love to learn about it. But I think for the sake of time, what time is it actually?
2:15.
2:15? Okay. I thought you said 2:50 at first. I was like, okay, it's 2:15. It's not too bad. Because I did kind of want to talk through, and I think we can also segment this off here potentially too. On the points that you gave me, I saw that in my truck, for adoption by local government. There was kind of I think it was four steps that you kind of had suggested. The first one's being just administrative easements into farmers trying to get into agrivoltaics.
Well, that was the fourth one, but
That was the fourth one down? Okay.
The first three had to do with sort of simplifying solar for everybody, not specific to farmers.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, the first point is to just simplify the permitting process.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's now a online automated permitting process for solar installations that was developed by the what used to be called the National Renewable Energy Lab of the Department of Energy. It's now called the National Lab of the Rockies, I believe. Same people, different label.
Yeah.
And it's been adopted by hundreds of local
Townships.
authorities that
Yeah.
whatever they are in a local jurisdiction
Yeah.
that manages the approval of solar and building permits and things like that, and enforces code requirements and things like that.
Right.
And so that has proven a great aid to both the businesses that install solar and to the agencies that
Yeah.
regulate these
Right.
processes, because it relieves them of a great deal of administrative paperwork and just frees up a lot of time.
Right. And then was it the second point that was in trying to verify the integrity of these systems to look at the device manufacturer?
Yeah, I mean, what that was getting at is now this is a pretty mature technology, and so if you can certify that certain systems have met standard sorts of safety requirements, you shouldn't have to go out and inspect every single system.
Right.
You may need to go out and kind of have a sampling program where you sample occasionally to make sure that the way the system is designed is actually the way it's being installed.
Right.
But it's fairly boilerplate now.
Yeah.
So, again, that relieves a great deal of administrative burden from the local authorizing jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And that also really, both of these things greatly accelerate the process from when a consumer decides they want to look into it to when they actually have it.
Yeah.
And that's important. I mean, so like right now with utility bills increasing fairly dramatically,
Right.
a lot of people are interested. There's a lot of evidence that people are doing a lot more searches for
Yeah.
things like solar and other kinds of energy saving technologies. And if you want to go out and buy an energy efficient appliance, you can go online, you can look it up, say, oh, this is the one I want. You can go down to the store and buy it, and you're using it that same day.
Yeah.
If you want to install solar Well, you can decide who you want to install and what you want to install, and then it can be months between getting through all the permitting and inspection processes.
Right.
And that's, a lot of people get frustrated and just walk away from those projects as a result, just of the time involved. It also increases the cost a lot,
Right.
because these companies that are installing this have to keep going back to the places that they need these permits from and meet this or that additional requirement or some other jurisdiction-specific requirement that varies from one city and town and county across all the cities, towns, and counties in the whole country.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And if you look at other parts of the world, solar installs are 1/3 to 1/2 the cost, and it's almost entirely because of that aspect of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then what was the third point, if you happen to remember?
I should have brought that with me.
I might actually have it on my phone.
Oh.
I took a screenshot of it too, or a photo of it. Let me see.
I think it was the plug-in solar. I think it was
Yeah.
getting the utilities to be proactive and consider that this is something that's sweeping the country.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Mhm.
It's not strictly speaking illegal, even now,
Yeah.
but these states are authorizing legislation that, in effect, the authorizing legislation is a prohibition
Right.
on property owners and utilities from imposing unreasonable restrictions on the technology.
Right.
Because it is essentially just like plugging in an appliance.
Right. Right. Right.
So there's nothing preventing our local, like in the county CEMC or in Clarksville CDE, from just saying, we've looked at this, we think it's fine. Just let us know if you install it, and we'll come out and check it for you and make sure you're doing everything okay.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Because you can order these online and you can have them in a couple days.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and I think all of those are like things that I definitely would like to see done. Like it just makes sense from an economic standpoint. It makes sense from an environmental standpoint. It makes sense from an agency standpoint, like individual agency standpoint. I guess last thing was, because I know you said you thought of a couple additional things you wanted to add to that list. Was there anything?
Well, what I wanted to point out was I was talking about the benefits to the farmers and the benefits to the businesses that do the installation, and the fact that all these utilities are saying how important it is that we add more generating resources.
Yeah.
And this is by far the fastest generating resource. But what I failed to point out at the time was, this also helps resource local government.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there's something in it for everyone.
Right. And you're talking about the sales tax element, or just?
And whatever the nature of the taxes, and also the community benefits that the development companies can offer the communities. Often they'll make donations to nonprofits in the county, or the school system.
Yeah.
And that's becoming much more recognized in the industry as something that they need to do. They need to offer the entire community a stake in it.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe, for coming out, for giving all of the explanation for a lot of this. I know we've talked about it before, but I think it's good to get that information out there as well. I think, should we do any, another, end up, thing at the end? Or?
Just close it out clean.
Ooh, the clean is going to be the hard part.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, thank you.
I appreciate that you're interested in these ideas.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, where I'm at with it is I think we have 20 to 30 years of backlog of things in Montgomery County that we need to take care of. And so if we want to get that done in the time frame that a mayor is elected, we have to be moving fast, we have to be moving smart, and we have to be looking towards innovations.
Right.
So,
No, I agree, and also, I actually believe that going fast on these things actually puts the benefits into the community. It puts more benefits into the community, not just more quickly,
right.
but more benefits.
No, definitely.
Because going slow has cost.
Yeah.
The sort of the cost sources keep accumulating,
Yeah.
right? And avoiding those, provides those benefits, as soon as possible.
Yes, definitely.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you remember when, I remember this because I'm quite a bit older than you, but computers were, improving at an astounding pace, and people were like, should I buy this, 286 or wait for the 386?
Oh, yeah.
And things like that, or, this happened in a number of different areas of electronics.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the sooner you got it, the sooner you realized that the benefits, and the sooner you got your hands on those benefits, the sooner it began paying you, a return on
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
So it didn't, people thought they should maybe wait, but really it was better to go ahead and jump in and get going on it.
Yeah. There's been a lot. I could talk for way too long about like the economics of like buy-in period, but I'm not going to jump into that. It was awesome having you out, Joe. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to check out my website. Send me an email at contact@greenwoodformoco.com. Do you have an email address, Joe?
You can find us if you look on Facebook for Broken Point Farm. That would probably be the easiest way for people to do it. Just look for Broken Point Farm in Montgomery County.
Awesome. And thanks, and have a good one.